Okay. Ooh, I think I fixed that weird blur slow thing. I don't know how that happened last time. But anyway, so I watched, I don't know why I keep pointing, I haven't done the marquee thing in forever, but, so I watched Barbarian the other night, and I really didn't expect the movie to be what it was, so I kind of went in there kind of like, ugh, God, and I came out of it like, you know, I'm gonna go into spoilers. I mean, the movie's been out for like a couple months now, but I'll go into spoilers in a bit. So initially, what I thought it was going to be is obviously it's like girl goes into an Airbnb and then Bill Skarsgård's there. So Bill Skarsgård is the bad guy because that he just ends up being that guy nowadays ever since he played Pennywise. So I was like, all right, well, there's that. But then I kept hearing like people kept being like, oh my god, this movie's so good. Oh my god, holy shit. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, again, I watched it. I mean, it doesn't suck, but I mean, like, do you guys not watch other things? I don't know. Like, I don't know why people were talking about like how amazing this was. When I was like, it's not like, again, it doesn't suck. It's just, it's kind of like like I gave it 3.5 stars, so that means it's not. It's like a little bit better than mid, and then that's fine. I actually rate a lot of movies as mid, and that's not really like. I always tell people, I'm like, it's better. I always tell people, I'm like, if you look at my letterbox, anything 3 stars and up, just watch that. Don't anything below that. Don't talk to her. Because that means that's all ass. But yeah, I guess I'll go into spoilers. There's not much you can. I mean, general premise of the movie is, woman goes into woman rents an Airbnb. Somehow it's double booked. Bill Skarsgård's there, and then shit happens. So we'll just. Okay, we'll just see, Anyway, so I guess 1 through 3 spoilers. So, again, you're thinking Bill Skarsgård's gonna be the bad guy because, again, he's Pennywise and he's done some shit and he can play a villain really well. Well, it turns out he's not. He's actually just, like, a good guy. And the girl, like, there was a tweet that said, like, cheers to sis here, like she did everything wrong but somehow made it out alive. I mean, I am very surprised. Because I'm gonna be honest, like, if I would have went and, like, oh, my Airbnb was double booked and, like, you are one singular person, I am one singular person, I'm like, nope. I would have rather just, like, slept in the car. Because she had a car, so it wasn't like she got dropped off or something. I would have just, like, slept in the car, drove somewhere, like, I don't know, just, like, I don't know, go to fucking, like, a Walmart parking lot or something. I mean, although shit happens there. You get what I mean. Like, somewhere where, like, there's lights and da-da-da, because this was, like, a weird neighborhood. It was, like, dark. And then she, like, looks outside the next morning, and, like, every fucking house is, like, fucking dilapidated and shit. And it's, like, the one standing home, and it's, like, did you not, like, Google Maps that? Like, I don't know, man, like, the only time, I've only used, like, Airbnb or whatever. Obviously, they don't say Airbnb in the movie, duh. But, like, the only time I ever used that app was, like, when I went to Thailand. And when I looked up the place, I was like, alright, this apartment thing looks too good to be true. And I was like, let me look around it. And I was like, oh, no, this is it. This is an apartment, and it's attached to, like, a hotel thing. And so I go, alright, well, this is exactly what it says it is. Alright, I got there and I was like, alright, this place is fucking awesome. But if I would have gotten there and there was someone else in there, I'd be like, oh, hell no. I probably would have, first of all, yelled. Had a lot of arguments, probably told them to get the fuck out. It would have been really bad. But yeah, the fact that she was just like, no, I'm gonna stay, and this guy seems sweet. Which, again, the movie does well by, like, having you constantly think, well, she's gonna be in danger because it's the guy. And again, Bill Skarsgård, he's actually playing, like, a decent guy, but it comes off kind of, because, you're on, like, you're on, like, all that stuff. And, he's like, oh, no, I'll take the couch, you get the bed, and then, like, she's like, well, I don't know, like, if you've been here, clean sheets. He's like, all right, let's wash the sheets. And you're thinking, like, oh, he's gonna try to do something. And him being nice, like, okay, I get why you didn't drink the tea I gave you, because you didn't see me make it, and I didn't want to, like, open up the bottle of wine before you got here, because I didn't want you to think I did something to it. Reasonable. Like, he is totally reasonable for, like, having paranoia himself, and he doesn't want her to think that he's a creep, and it just random happenstance that happened to the two of them. And again, he's a decent guy, you know? And then, like, what was it? Like, when she goes for her interview, and they're like, where are you staying? And she's like, oh, and this. And the person was like, what? And I was also thinking, like, you went into the city for an interview, and you stayed in the suburbs. Like, just pay the extra, like, $200 a night or something and stay in the city, you know? Just do it. Just do it. Sometimes, like, there's sometimes where you can compromise and stay a little bit outside of the city for what you need to do. And sometimes, again, if you just looked it up on Google Maps and realized then how to know to stay in the city, you know? Get yourself, like a nice embassy suite and get yourself some pancakes in the morning, you know, all that stuff. You know, just, like, no, bitch, like, no. So, like, you know, it starts off kind of like that. And then, she gets home from the job interview, you know, and then she got kind of, like, stuck in the basement. Now, like, in the morning, it was kind of cute because, like, Bill Skarsgård, like, you know, left to do whatever he needed to do, left a cute note, and it was just kind of like, hey, I had a really good chat last night, and please remember to put the key, you know, in the thing, so in case, like, you know, whoever, because he didn't know what time she was coming back. Okay, fine, you know, fine. And she had to go downstairs, you know, had to go downstairs to the toilet, had to go downstairs to get toilet paper, and, you know, she kind of got a little, like, curious about stuff, and then there was like, what's this rope? And then she just starts pulling on the rope. I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't have pulled on that rope. I would have seen a rope coming out from, like, you know, like a hole in the wall, and I would just be like, I'd be curious. Like, I would probably get to the point where I'd have my hand on the rope, and I would want to tug on it. But then the movie Cabin in the Woods comes to mind, you know, like, or I would just be like, no, not gonna do it, you know? She pulled it, the door opens, she looks down, she says nope, and she sits there for a bit, but then she still goes in, and I'm like, girl, come on! Like, at first I was like, oh, you're like, I get the reluctance, like, okay, you know, her going into the Airbnb anyway, I'm already like, oh, but I'm also, part of me is like, oh, yeah, to be honest, like, okay, if I booked an Airbnb by myself and it was Bill Skarsgård, I'd be like, alright, I'm fine with it, you know, maybe I could talk and ask you about what the hell Hemlock Grove was really about, you know? Like, have a chat, like, bro, okay, so I watched it, I enjoyed you as a vampire, you and your brother love to be vampires, but I have a question, what the fuck, you know? But anyway, so, anywho, so yeah, she gets stuck in there, and then, you know, Bill Skarsgård's like, hey, you know, let me help you out, da-da-da, you know, she gets out, she knows to, like, okay, put a chair there because the door locks, all that stuff. First of all, that's another red flag, you know? Like, first of all, the double booking, because how can you double book? Because usually with these things, you're not supposed to be able to double book. But anyway, what do I know about things and stuff? So she puts the chair there, and then Bill Skarsgård, who's, again, a decent guy. I feel like I have to constantly repeat that he's a decent guy, because, again, the idea is that the movie is trying to make him seem like he's, you know, he's the asshole. He's like, he set this up, you know, but it's not. And so he's just like, hey, let me, like, you know, like, calm this girl down by, like, okay, I'll also look at the creepy room she told me about. But instead of just going into, like, the creepy room that has, like, and it's funny because it's exactly what I've described as, like, the rooms, you know, like when I watched 50 Shades of Grey, when the guy said that he had, like, his little boom boom room, that's what I thought it would be. Like I said, a dirty mattress, maybe a camera, and a bucket. Although I described it as a lawn chair with a hole cut in with a bucket underneath it. Like, because, no, you know, like, people like that just, like, I gotta be right, you know, you're looking at that and you're like, no. Anyway, so somehow Bill Skarsgård, instead of going down that, like, hallway thing, and like, kind of turning, you know, to the left where there's a light on and you see the gross room, he somehow figured out there was, like, another, like, doorway at the end of the hall, and then there's stairs down it, and somehow curiosity for him, he decided to go down those creepy dark steps, you know, which kind of made me think of the PT trailer game thingy where, you know, like you open the door and it's another flight of stairs and you're just like, ugh. And so, of course, she's just like, hey, where did you go? And I understand to a degree why she went after, because she's like, hey, this guy's been nice to me this whole time. He helped me out. Now, oh God, what happened to him? And then heard him screaming. Then, you know, she's like, well, I gotta help him. Understandable. At the same time, I don't know, man. I would have called the cops. I don't know. Like, it's weird for me to say, like, I'll call the cops. I don't know. I don't know if I would have, like, went down there. I don't know. I'm also, like, after so many years of, like, doing things by myself, and now I have friends to do things with, I really, like, I know it was a job interview, but I somehow, I don't know. Again, like, it would have just been solved with me just paying the extra $200 a night and staying in the city. I don't know. I'm just saying, I'm like, I would not have done that. But anyway, she goes down that creepy hallway, and then, like, you know, you see Bill Skarsgård, and he's like, ah, and he's like crawling. You're like, what the fuck, dude? You're like 6'4", why are you crawling? And then all of a sudden you just see this like thing behind him. It's like, ah, and it just takes his head and just mash, 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 and then that's Bill Skarsgård. That's it. And so because he died, you're like, oh, so he wasn't a creep. Like, you know, obviously first time watching movies, you're like, oh, so he wasn't a creep. He was actually a good guy. There was a thing that mashed his head into the wall, you know? And it was just like, okay. And then with, like, the girl and all that stuff, like, then it just kind of cuts. And then suddenly it kind of, like, it felt like it suddenly went to, like, a different movie, because it just cuts. And then suddenly it's, like, Justin Long, like, driving a convertible, and, like, and then it's, like, you know, he kind of got, like, Me Too'd, and it was like, well, and like, somehow he ends up, you know, in Detroit or whatever, and he's just like, oh, you know, this is my Airbnb house. He, like, opens it, and all of a sudden, like, why is there a door? I mean, why is there a chair in front of the door for the basement? And there's luggage, hey, da-da-da, and it's, like, that very, like, the voice was like, hi, yeah, no, there shouldn't be anyone there. We haven't booked it since. Oh, no, we always clean it, but we haven't cleaned it since, so, well, sir, you seem to be very angry. Goodbye, you know. I wish when I did customer service, I could just say, oh, no, bitch, bye, you know. There were so many times where I was just like, oh, you know. I mean, I got in trouble one time by going, oh, no. And, like, I was actually genuinely like, oh, no, but they were like, oh, no, how dare you? And I got, like, written up for it because I come off as an asshole. And so then the lady lied and said that I went, oh, no, to her when that's not what I said. Anyway, I'll say I no longer work at places like that, thank fucking Christ. But anyway, so then, you know, the connection of the house, and Justin Long goes there, and then he goes downstairs and he, like, discovers the thing, and, you know, it fast tracks to him going down, and then, like, then finding the doorway and going even further down and all that stuff. And then, you know, like, he falls into, like, the little cage thing, and then the girl is there, which that kind of, like, got me for a second, because all of a sudden, like, he had his phone, and she's like, whoo, and, you know, and I was just like, oh shit, she's still alive, okay, that's good. And then it was like, then there's, like, this creepy naked woman, and she, like, puts down from the cage, like a weird, like, old school bottle with the big fuck off nipples, and she's like, you have to drink it, just fucking drink it if you want to live. So she's just like, you know, and then the thing tries to do that for Justin Long, and he's like, nah, I don't need to do that. And it's like, because somehow you don't want to fucking survive. And it was also gross, because then there was like hair on the nip, and you're like, nah, son. And then, you know, they try to get out, the girl gets out, Justin Long gets, like, dragged into, like, this weird room that has, like a box TV and the VHS playing about, like, breastfeeding, and that's what you let your child determine how long to be breastfed. And then the creepy thing, like, breastfeeds Justin Long, and he's like, and I'm just like, what am I watching? You know? Like, Jesus Christ. And then somehow, like, the girl gets out, you know, the bum that was there gets her out, and then, like, you know, then she's like, I have to go back, and the bum is like, no, you don't have to get back. And then, like, all this shit, like, accumulates where she goes back to save Justin Long, and then fucking, the bum dies after he, like, said the line of, like, oh no, she never comes out, I've been living here for 10, I was like, ah, and it's like, well, you said the thing, like, she comes out at night, the girl, like, rams into the mom thing with our cars. Of course the car is fucked, and they try to get out. She knows you have to go to the water tower because the bum said it. She falls off the water tower with the mom thing. She doesn't die. The mom thing dies, but she's just like, she somehow just survives. She just has good enough luck that she survives, which is fine because she is technically, I guess you would say, maybe, perhaps, our final girl, perhaps, maybe, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know, girl, like, I don't know how you've been surviving this whole time, and then, like, whatchamacallit, she actually gets shot by Justin Long. Oh, that was on the way there. And then, they get the gun and they shoot the mom thing, and it's like, there you go, you survived. Like, also, like, the portrayal of cops in this movie was pretty spot on, where she was like, hey, there's something happening. She looks disheveled. She's like, I'm not a crackhead. Which, on one hand, I understand, because it's like how disheveled and fucked up Detroit is, but it's not really, the people's fault, It's, what did someone say in Letterboxd? They were like, oh, goddammit, what is it? It said, a funny story about how we're still dealing with the sins of Reagan's economy, of Reagan's America, yeah, so, But anyway, yeah, like I said, I thought the movie was fine. Like, the fact that, okay, turns out, like, I guess to me, a minor twist, that you find out that, okay, it wasn't, just, Bill Skarsgård being, like, a creepy man and then a woman being held hostage kind of story. Turns out there's, like, some nefarious thing in the basement, sub-basement kind of weird shit. Okay, interesting. Oh, and they also, like, told, like, the story. There's that, too, when Justin Long, then it also cut to, like, the story of, like, what Detroit looked like beforehand in the 70s or something, and, like, it's all colorful and, like, Edward Scissorhands neighborhood kind of shit. And it's like, okay, thanks for that backstory, and it was just kind of like, okay. I feel like, this felt like it should have been, like a mini-series in a weird way, like, just the way how quickly they were, like, cutting from this story to that one. It felt like it should have been, like, not that it should have been, but the way how it seemed things were cut down or sped up, or just, this is what they wanted. But it just felt like this was supposed to be, like, a 2 to 3 part mini-series in my head. I don't know why. Just because it's, like, the way all the parts were, if you kind of, like, elongated more, it could be, like, its own thing. Accumulating at the end, the gathering and of the last episode, the last, act, as, whatever. But anyway, yeah. So I think it's, like, I just want to talk about the movie because I was just like, well, mainly because I really wasn't expecting this movie to be what it was. So I was like, awesome. Like, I initially was going to do a review about Terrifier 2, but really all it would have been was me going, why? Because I did record a Terrifier 2 review, and then I played it back, just double checking my video, and realized the entire time I just kept being like, but why, and where, and why, and like, why? I just kept saying why. Although I think that would have been a funny video of me just like for 10 minutes straight going, why. But anyway, yeah, so that was Barbarian. It's better than what I thought it was gonna be, but even then, so it's like, it's better than what I thought it'd be, but even then, as like something in the horror realm, it's just like, there's like that suspension of disbelief, and also like, girl, what are you doing, kind of stuff. Like, what you did wrong was to book that place in the first place, but anyway. And then poor Bill Skarsgård's character, also on his ID said he was 5'10". Bro, like, was that his joke? Because he is, like, a 6'4" guy, to be like, oh, no, put on my ID that you see in the movie that I'm 5'10", that kind of joke. Anyway, I don't know what else I'm talking about, but, yeah, that was Barbarian. That's alright. Well, it's alright.